days when they had these funerals and that up to these churches, they didn't have hearses then, did they?
I can remember they used to walk.
And now they
Carry
used
the
to have a cart.
Yeah, I can remember them. I can
Oh,
remember
they wouldn't
walk.
would they
But
carry?
I can remember people used to walk to the cemetery to
I can
Mount Vincent
remember
Cemetery.
Ned Granger's, they walked alongside of the...
Yeah, the hearse and that.
Did they have a hearse or a cart?
Oh, hearse, I should. Did they have a
Yeah.
cart in your days?
It was
and
a
I
cart
knew
because I know Dad had an old white horse
Yeah.
and a cart, and that used to be used quite a lot. That was
the
what they took.
They used
Yes.
to, they walked alongside of the hearse. did.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, from
And then-
here, from where it'd be.
Yeah.
And
They usually walked
Ned
from the house
Granger's?
in those days.
No, he's
Because
cremated.
They usually walked from the
Yeah,
house in
yeah,
those days. in-
that's
in-
what I
in
was
your
just-
day.
that's
And
what I
I'll
was
tell
going
you
to
another
say.
thing that was terrible, the tolling
Well,
of the bell. Oh, that was terrible. They
Yeah.
always used to toll this
Oh, the
bell.
fellow that's up there used to toll the bell at your church.
Yes. Now
He's buried up
it
there.
was Hitchcock.
Yes.
Yes,
Gotcha.
yes.
Gotcha.
And I tell you that old Mr. Labour, he was a bell ringer
Oh, the
before
tooth.
Mr. Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Was
It'll be
he?
dark if I go...
Yes.
Righto. Thanks for your help, Don.
Well, I can remember that when Dad died 5 years ago, as a mark of respect, when we came out of the church, you know, he was going to the crematorium. The minister that was here said, "Well, look, as a last respect to Varney, I think we should toll the bell."
Yeah.
And that would be the last. And for a long time, I'd never ever heard the bell
It's
tolled.
never been
up
told
there.
since.
But it used to be. I can remember them tolling it and seeing. I wasn't very old, I wouldn't think. And
Probably
people would be
yeah.
walking up the road beside the
Yeah.
hearse there, and they'd be tolling the bell. Oh, I'd be so mournful.
I can remember them doing that in Maitland and places, but
Yeah.
I never ever saw it done anywhere
No,
else.
well,
No.
they used to do it
No.
here.
Yeah. That James Labert, was that the fellow?
Yes, that was him. Yes,
Yeah.
he was the bell
Oh,
ringer
God.
before Mr. Hitchcock.
Was your mother cooking bread and all that at that time, baking your own bread, or was it
Yeah, early days.
not when you were a girl?
Sometimes she'd put a batch in, but
didn't.
Grandma's the one that used to do all the baking.
Here in
Bread,
town.
yes.
Was she a good cook, Grandma Brand?
Yeah, wasn't she ever? And Grandfather used to carve the meat.
Did you all come into Sunday dinner ever, or was that?
Oh, we'd come in there often for a meal, you
Did
know,
you?
and that. Yes, oh yes.
Wasn't you get to the table with the carve?
Grandfather would do the carving, the great big carving fork and a knife, and you had the big vegetable bowls and
Yeah.
all like now we dish up.
Yeah, on each plate. Those days, it was on the table,
Helped yourself.
and
in
it was
that.
had a top on it to keep
Yeah,
it warm.
the lid on it.
To keep it warm.
Right, still
How many would be at a dinner then in Browns when that was on?
Well, there'd be mum and dad, and not all of us. All the younger ones, like, and grandma and grandfather. And then Auntie was over there. See her and Thelma and Helen Gordon. So
Yeah.
when Uncle Jim died,
When they came
they
over.
just went, that was the trend once. When somebody died, you
They're
went
all
home.
family there, family.
You went home, but now somebody dies, you stop on your own.
It was great times really when you think. But most big homes had big families and big groups. Where did he learn his trade? Where did old Fred learn to be a barber?
He used to travel to Maitland on a bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd ride to Maitland a couple of times a week, night time, and he'd learn down there. My first job of a morning was to go over to the sawmill next door town and fill the spittoons up.
Yeah.
You seen them spittoons?
Yeah, the old ones, yeah.
Blimey, they're churchy now, the health business together,
Yeah.
and the old blokes would spit, Jack, they'd spit from here to that bloody guano.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right into it. Some would miss, and I used to have to clean it up. When you get the bloody blokes coming in chewing tobacco in them days, you know. My old man and them used to grow up around Walla Walla, and I think he had to go with him, old Capper. He was a great old fella
Yeah.
in these days. He worked with
Professor Davis.
yes, he was all trying for Professor Davis down around Evermain when they first discovered that seam of colour.
Yeah. You know, you get used to a haircut. I hate getting cut anywhere else. It's funny, you know, when I was overseas.
Yeah, boy.
When I was overseas, I never
Do you
went.
want to have your eyes red?
Yes, you trim whatever needs to be done.
the old days, I can remember when, well, you know, like George Kerr and Murray King and all those fellas. It was great just to go and sit in the barber shop and listen to the talk.
Right. Yeah. Alan says to me the other day, I was cutting somebody, he said, no wonder he was a bloody barber, because you never stopped talking.
Well,
You got to talk.
well, I tell you what, I reckon that was part of when you were a young
Part of
fellow.
the trade.
wasn't it? Yes, and it was part of the social structure.
Yeah, that's right.
You went and talked in all sorts of places, and
Correct, and you got information too.
yeah. Well,
You get a lot of
and
information.
then it got passed on to others. You'd be telling it was a real news centre. They didn't have wireless. And
No, they did not. I showed Alan some old papers yesterday.
Yeah.
Eagles that Maynard kept, 1923. They're in there.
She was.
There they are.
Yeah, she was a great one for keeping things. I remember.
Come here, Alan, and have a look at Jack now.
You're the secretary. You're going to say.
We've trimmed it down. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, there's the excellent.
Johnny, it's not cut right in short to the back.
No, you, whatever you do is right, man. It's better.
Will you give me that mirror in there?
No, don't worry about mirrors. No, I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm going to let you have a look.
No, I'm right. Whatever's
The
right.
round one.
God, love it, don't you?
How do we get around the back?
Yeah, that's really good. Beautiful. First class, man. It's first class.
That's good.
I'll win a half today.
Now, that's not, now go and have a look in the mirror there.
Yeah,
in,
all right.
in the laundry.
I'll have a look at my
See, it was long, Jack, but
Yeah, it got too long. Yeah, it got too
and
long.
it's brought back now to what it normally was, and you'll find that's okay. You're a big bloke too.
Oh, yes, big and fat. Not
No,
for
Jack,
you.
you shouldn't do
Not
that.
for you, hey.
Not
I don't
for
get a
me.
chance. Well, not for you.
But they did before.
because back when you were a young fellow, they all had their own mugs, didn't they? For
Oh
show?
yes, you pay
Fit 'em up all along on the
2 shillings a week.
mug.
Well, you could have a shave every day.
Yeah, I remember that.
Sixpence a shave.
It was a 6 months, but I mean, they had
Yeah, they had
had
their
it
own
on
mug.
a shelf
Yeah.
all along, and you
With
used
your
to,
name on.
did they have their name on it? Did they
Yeah,
have that?
got your name on.
Was it?
Thing.
Go away. You went to school at Maine, Ambrose, did you?
I went to school up here, yes.
Yes, and then from there to where? To the...
Nowhere.
You went working, didn't you? Did you ever
Yeah.
work? Where'd you work?
I never went to high school or anything.
No, but where'd you work when you started work?
And my number 2.
Did you? I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
What you do out there? Clipping?
I started tracking,
Yeah.
and then the pit closed. Didn't work for very long. The pit closed down
Ah, yes,
for,
yeah.
for about 4 years,
Yeah.
and then it reopened. I think in probably 1936. Not really sure. Later on,
What'd you do in that period? Just unemployed like everybody else?
unemployed like everyone else. Yes.
Hard days, weren't they?
Oh,
Do you remember it still, the Depression days?
Yeah, 6 and 8 months a week,
Yeah.
and you couldn't live at home.
Did you have to go away to live?
No, I did. We had an address up there in King Street.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
A bloke called Dick Erskine had a batch there,
Yeah.
and that was everyone's address so they could get the dole. It was a one room batch, and I think there was 88 people lived in it. The
But it was the way it was done in those days, wasn't it?
the inspector come around looking for this big boarding house,
Yeah.
and there was a one room batch. He
Yeah.
did nothing about it though, he knew.
Oh,
If you gave your home address, you couldn't get the dole.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't it hard times, really, but...
Yeah, 6 and 8 pence a week.
Yeah.
This is the hard part. It was 6 and 8 pence a week, but the husband and wife never got 2 6 and 8 pences.
No, what
They got about 11 and 3 pence.
Yeah, I didn't know.
They wouldn't. Yeah, oh, for sure. We had a tough out. We were so poor when we were kids. This is fair dinkum. We always had cows
Yeah,
and horses.
yeah.
That I was born up there.
Well, in Cessnock?
No, just up here.
Oh, yes,
Two streets up.
yeah.
And then the house got burned down about 19, and we had our buggies, four-wheel buggies, and the sulkies and everything. You know, it was, times were hard, but it was interesting when you look back.
Yeah. What did you use the buggies for? What was that for? To take people around? Or?
No, just take our family around. See, there was actually 7 children in the family. 2 died, 2 girls
Your
died.
mother told me of your family.
Yeah, lost 2 girls.
Yeah.
And there was 5,
Yeah.
and mother and father, see. And the sulky was no good because it didn't hold us all.
Yeah, so you need the buggy.
Yeah, we went out the Sunday afternoon in the buggy, and
He used to take me out.
Did he in the Saki?
To Sawyer's Gully. Every
Yeah.
time he took me out to Sawyer's Gully. Still takes me there.
and anyhow, this Sunday afternoon, you know, it was a big thing in those days, go for a ride in the horse and buggy, and when we were away, someone got in to rob the place.
You go home.
Yeah. Apparently when they got in and saw what we didn't have, they didn't only leave without touching anything, but they put a donation on the table.
Now the Baileys, one of the Baileys got lost in the pit, is that
Malcolm, and he was down in the bottom of the pit,
Yeah.
in what they call the substation. You'd know that, I don't.
Yeah, I know what it's all about, yeah.
Yes, well, he was in the substation, and they rang through to him
Yeah,
to say, stay there till we get there.
yeah.
So when they got there, the substation was empty. He tried to get out.
Yeah.
So they never found him until years and years and years after, because they had to close the pit completely.
yeah.
And
Do you know
the skeleton, they buried him in Cessnock Cemetery.
I spoke recently to the man that found him,
Who was it?
Jackie Robinson.
Where did they find him exactly?
Well, that substation you talked about.
Yes.
Well, there was a tunnel running away to the left off the main drive run down to that substation, the main tunnel.
Yes.
And some 300 yards down there was one ran away to the left.
Was that where he got to?
And he got back as far as that tunnel
Ah.
where it ran away, and that was where the explosion took place. All the trouble was in that side area, right where that he'd got into that area. This fellow thinks that he got gassed.
Yeah, he probably did.
And they, when they were working back to that area, finishing the pit, they were taking all the pillars and things out the end of it, and they got to that area, and he found the bone there, the hip bone.
Goodness me.
And then he found his watch, and he got the police down, and they searched more, and they found his boots and everything there.
Well, old Orb was the man that I knew him a lot with Belgrade. He was one of them natural men. He was right in that disaster.
Was he?
Big Orb.
Oh, yeah.
He was one of the proto men
It went down.
and went down and knew all the pits. See?
Yeah,
Orb. And he used to talk about that
the disaster.
disaster.
Yeah.
See, and that
Was he working at the pit when the disaster was on?
he was right in it.
And but I mean, the day it happened.
Not when it happened,
Not
but
there.
he was there not after, long after it happened. You know what I mean? He was one of the first men
To get to the pit.
one of the mob to get down. He was one of the proto men that
Went down.
Went down.
Yeah.
Big Orb. Of course, there wasn't any actual proto formed in those days.
I think it came as a result of that, didn't it?
That actually started the
Yeah.
proto.
Yeah.
But they were all volunteer men that had done it voluntary. It was
some
like
training.
an ambulance, you know.
Yeah.
Well, they all rushed there. I was always interested in the chap that didn't find, see?
Yeah.
I was always interested in that. Now, I'll tell you a story about
Yeah,
this. I'll tell you
yeah. Well, go back to your other story.
But
Yeah.
this is,
That
now,
was the shunt off.
this is where, when that disaster,
Yeah,
now you can see daylight there.
yeah,
Now, he ran to there, to that shunt,
yeah.
and that's where he collapsed there.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
about 6 feet from the main Aldies Road,
Yeah.
and right in that bloody corner.
Caused a lot of
And
excitement.
he was there, and he was only about
200 yards from the top.
and he'd only be about 5 yards from where he worked.
Go on. Didn't
That's
get
how
far.
bloody far he went, and he was reported to
It'd
have
be
been
miles
all over
away,
the bloody
yeah,
pit, see,
yeah.
and that's where he was. And that's where it must have happened, because as soon as it went off, he'd been right in the
Yeah,
bloody middle of it.
yeah.
There was only one fellow missing still, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Was he found in your time?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Who found him at the
Funny thing, he'd been walked past, as
Yeah.
I've been past him myself, and the deputy, Jackie Robertson, down
a little Jackie?
Little Jackie, yeah. He was in this bone there. So they stopped the loader and they looked at the scent. That's how they found him.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, so they identified him from what? His watches?
And his pit lamp, and that
Yeah.
was there. Well, what had happened, Malcolm Bailey, he was trying to make his way out. So he went in and he got up, whether he sit down again the rib or fell down, we don't know.
Yeah.
But he was right over again the rib. Coal had spread it off
Yeah,
and
covered
just
him.
covered him. There wouldn't be or a foot of coal.
Didn't that shunt get used at all when
Yeah, it got used after.
and still didn't discover him?
Still didn't discover.
It's a great story, isn't it, really, when you think about it, to be all those years and
Yeah.
never found in a pit that worked.
Yeah,
It was different if he hadn't worked.
yeah.
And his watch and everything was recovered. I knew
Yeah.
that. I read that somewhere else.
Yes, he still had his pit lamp, and them times he used to have a little
Cribbed in.
bottle on your belt.
Yeah,
with
water
the
bottle.
oil. No, with the oil in. And at Bellbird, they wouldn't allow carbide in
Yeah.
Bellbird.
Well, what happened that caused the explosion?
Well,
Dust.
no, what it was, they had machines in there,
Yeah.
coal cutters.
Yeah.
Well, the cables in those days
Yeah.
wasn't like it is today, like the plastic cupboard. It was rubber, and then fabric over the top of that.
Yeah.
Well, there'd be a fall of coal get on them,
Yeah.
and the rubber and that would rot away, and
Sure.
they were shortened under a heat. That's my opinion,
Yeah. That's,
because
this
when
sounds logical too.
But I tell you what a lot of people forget, A lot of people forget when they talk about Rossbury, what they forget what happened at Abermain on the Bend.
No, I've never heard that. Tell me about that.
One morning, there was a demonstration. It was a demonstration against some free labour or bosses working at Abermain number 1. And we organised the meeting, and we marched from Weston at Abermain and so on, and we marched up to there. We got to the Bend and we went along the railway line, and we sat on the railway line along talking.
What year was this? What are we?
Oh, just during the lockout.
1930, round about that period.
Anyway, President of Abermain, he had to go over and the deputation. Anyway, he went over to interview the colliery people, and we all sat along the railway line. It was practically down from Neath down to Abermain. And all of us sitting there talking and yarn, and all of a sudden some young chap, we seen him coming down from the Neath end and running. And he got in front of me or somewhere, and he said, "Where's Mr. This was the president of Abermain number 1, and look, Mr. So-and-so." And someone said, "No, he's over there at the office." And he darted over there. But he never told us that the police, the flying gang on the Mackay, had come from Cessnock. I think they had a demonstration in Cessnock, and attacked the men at farther up near Neath, and they started to run down towards us, scattered. And we seen them coming down running, we started to run towards them.
Yeah.
And here's the police, with their batons in their hand and their coats open, and they were wailing into them. And I always remember an old oak, Shedden. He was a little Welsh bloke. And this big copper came out and hit him on the head, and he knocked him down, and he picked himself up, and he had his water bottle in his hand, and he smashed it into the face
Of the copper.
And I always remember this, whether it was Mackay or someone else saying, because we scattered into the bush, he said, don't go into the bush after them, don't go into the bush after them. And that was the morning at Abermain on the Bend.
Was it down there? I never ever heard of that. Right?
Funny thing, I've never heard of to talk about Rossby because of the big
demonstration.
Because it was everyone from Rossby, from all over
Everywhere,
the place. That was the big. But that happened at.
Was that before or after Rossbury?
It was after Rossby.
After it, yeah.
Yes, after. And that was. He was us sitting there as innocent as. And I always say this. I reckon the railway line's made of blue metal.
Yeah.
I couldn't find a bit of blue metal that day to shot at the coppers.
Yeah. That's only ash all along there.
And they were coming. They came down in buses, and to attack
all the fellas.
top.
Yeah.
Well, they scattered, and of course naturally running back towards
us, yeah.
And we wondered what they were running with, and we got up and off our feet and started to go towards them.
Yeah.
And yes, that was that morning up there, and that was what happened.
You should break all of these things,
That's right.
See, I had the spool out of the camera that was smashed up at Rossbury.
Did you?
Had it for years and years. Anyhow,
You weren't the photographer?
no, no, they smashed this camera, as a photographer.
Taking shots.
Taking photos,
Yeah.
and they grabbed it and jumped on it.
Yeah.
And, smashed it up.
Did you march from here in Curry to Rothbury?
Western.
Western, which way? Across country or?
Yes, up through Major's Lane.
Major's Lane, yeah.
Yes, out through that way. See, there's another thing that Rothbury wasn't the only violence.
No.
Like you had a situation where there were scabs at Airfield,
Yeah.
and we all assembled in Western, and we marched up through the bush past Sorai, up over Old School Hill as a diversion.
Yeah.
The attack was to be on Airfield, and it was successful. Well, we're all sitting on the railway line, the South Motors railway line, and quite happy, and they pulled up with their trucks, you know, and motorbikes. They had these trucks, flat top trucks with seats on each side so they could jump straight off.
Yeah.
We're sitting there, and this is, you know, Mackay,
He was the commissioner.
commissioner.
Yeah.
He got made a commissioner by the Labor government too. He stood as closest to you as I am.
Yeah.
And I just turned and looked at him. I said, "Oh, you're too late, mate." And he said, "Into the bastards."
Yeah.
Well, they did into us.
Yeah.
Well, Alf had long legs,
Yeah.
and he, you know, we just was looking back, and I was looking back to see
How they were doing.
how they were doing, and I kicked the top wire and I went down. Well, every time I went to get up, I used to cop a
Bashing.
baton, see. So I decided this is the best thing to do was to lay on the ground, but they put the boot in there.
Yeah, yeah.
So when the wave had passed, I just walked back over to the road, and I sat and laughed, you know. And I read the story afterwards in the paper that gave, more or less, described the virtues of the bat. They said it didn't hurt, but only instilled fear in you to make you run. Well, I denied that.
Yeah,
because
you had a different story about that.
Does hurt.
And when you marched to Abermain, you went. Another crowd went to
Airfield,
Yeah.
yes. Well, they got them there, and I reckon they terrified the scabs that were in there. They burnt their bicycles. Oh, well, I reckon
they were nasty people.
they
They were doing the wrong thing. I agree with that.
see, they reckoned that they were that frightened that their bowels moved.
Yeah, yeah. Rothbury is very interesting because it was an era that not many people know the basics of it. They know of Rothbury and they know about the shooting and they know all the things that went on out there.
Yeah.
Must have been frightening for you people that were at Rothbury that day.
Oh yes, yes. The you know, the bullets were flying, and I'm definite of this, and I swear it on oath. You know, I never saw a policeman. I was right in the thick of it. I never saw a policeman fire
At the mine.
at a mine. Never. And I think this Norman Brown. Now, I had a long talk with old Cruikshank.
Yeah.
There was pretty good only like a couple of years ago, and he's a damnant that the bullet that hit Norman Brown was a ricochet. He said, I took it out of his shirt. It was still in his shirt. And he said it was scarred, you know, as if it had come up off the gravel, because you're on the side of a hill. He said that you can take that.
Weren't there others hit besides Brown?
Oh yes, quite a lot.
Quite a number of them got marked.
Yeah, shot, you know,
Yeah.
mine or some.
Where
didn't.
did Brown actually get hit to kill him?
Where?
Yeah, in the face or the...
No, in the stomach.
Went into the stomach?
Yeah, went right through.
Did it? Oh.
He wasn't anywhere near the actual activity.
Wasn't he?
Oh, he was sitting back up on the hill playing cards, and he was playing cards with Bob McKinnon,
Yeah.
was one of the chaps. But he said I had left him to go mullet fishing over to the river
Yeah.
just before the shot.
Shot, yeah. Yes, she was an era in history, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
It was violent times, that...
Oh yes, like we played at the funeral.
Yeah.
I was in West